Okay, this one I do 4, and then you got practice problems. It's the same concept as what I just got done with, but I screwed this problem up. That should be a 40x. Okay, should say 40. Okay, we're finding the solution. So we have 5 solutions. So I have x to the 5th, I have x to the 3rd, and I have x. Okay, so that's a factoring problem. Now we have 3 terms. So we know how to factor 3 terms. GCF and my T table. Okay, now remember on the T, you take A times C, and you really have to pay attention to what A equals. Now I have a question for you. Do you have a higher power than 2? Yeah, so you need to split that box in half and just write more DOPS question mark. It's not hard. Plus, minus, plus, minus. That means just these 2 parentheses I end with, instead of circling them and putting an F label, we need to see more DOPS. So GCF. Well, you don't have a negative in front. You actually do have X on everything. And 2, 2, and 40. You can just punch in 2, comma 40. You don't need to repeat the 2. GCF's 2. Okay, so 2x. Get the 2x factored out, circle it, and that needs to go right here, down here, okay? Because that is part of what I use to solve. Okay, now go divide them by 2x. The x's cancel here. So that's going to give me 1. X fifth divided by x takes it to the 4th, plus 1. That takes it to the 2nd, and that's just minus 20. Okay, so I go A, B, C. Okay, so A is 1, C is negative 20. So that gives me a negative 20 product. Difference of 1. 1 and 20 is not it. 2 and 10 is not it. 3 is a decimal. 4 and 5, you bet. By the way, there are none that fail. So if you put fail, something's wrong. Okay, so you got plus. You got to look through all this crap. You got plus. There's your B. So it's plus 5. It's a difference with a negative product, so they have to be the opposite. Now, darn it, pay attention what your A equals. Your A is 1 and then x to the 4th. Just put a parentheses and let's talk about the 1. Well, if it's 1, I can ignore it and just make one line of parentheses. But it's x to the 4th. So you can't go x. X times x is not x to the 4th. It's x second, then minus 4 plus 5. Okay, now this is where I normally stop, but I come over here. Do you have any more dots? Well, the one with a plus isn't. The one with the plus gets circled. 2 of those are crossed out. And I put x to the 2nd plus 5 right there. Okay, how about this other one here? Well, you got a minus. 4 is 2 times 2. And x to the 2nd's x times x. So you're darn right, that's a DOPS. So don't circle that because you need to do x, 2, 2. Now these are the ones you circle. So you've got x plus 2 and x minus 2. So the factoring's done, okay? And that all that equals 0. You just make a line of your factors, the GCF, anything here that was circled, and then anything at the end. All right, so my scratch paper. 2x could equal 0. X to the 2nd power plus 5 could equal 0. X plus 2 could equal 0. X minus 2 could equal 0. Okay, let's do the save the 2nd power for last. So we're dividing by 2 here, and I get 0. We subtract 2 from both. 0's first answer, I just put it. Subtract 2, you get negative 2. Doesn't have a power. Real easy to figure out. Plus 2, you get 2. And then here I get 2 answers. I need to subtract 5. And then with the 2nd power, we need to do the square root over both sides. So this side is just x. You have a negative under a square root, so I. Then you can make it positive and go on about your business. Now 5. 5's not one of the numbers on the board in a square root. Now the only thing 5 could maybe divide by is between 4 and 9. So we'll see if 5 divides by 4. No, it doesn't. That's when I just circle the square root. Okay, I don't scribble anything out. I don't change anything. I just put square root 5. If it's in a square root, technically it's behind. And then square root 5, put the negative in front of your second solution. Because that's how square roots work. I square root 5, negative I square root 5. Okay, next problem. 5 solutions. And what do you have for x's? You have x to the 5th, x to the 3rd, and x. Anytime x is to more than one power, we have to factor. That's what factoring's for. By the way, it means x to the 1st. Okay, 3 terms. Same as setup as the last. GCF and the t table. Now on t, go a, b, c, a times c, and you will really have to concentrate on what the a equals here. Okay, split that in half, and that's more DOPS. Okay, just set it right there because you have a higher power than a 2. Okay, GCF. You got a negative in front? No, you do have x on everything. Okay, 228 and 90. Well, they're all even. I'm guessing 2 goes into all of them. Indeed. Okay. So 2x. Get the 2x factored out and then circle it because you're bringing it down here. So parentheses 2x. Now go divide. Okay, the x divided by x cancels. So that's 1. X fifth divided by x is x to the 4th. 28 divided by 2 is 14, and that goes x to the 2nd. And that doesn't have anything. It's just 45. So A, B, and C. Okay, so A is 1, C is 45. Well, that makes 45. This time we get positive 45 from that. So it's a sum. Now remember, on a sum, the signs have to be the same, whatever they are, either both positive or both negative. Let's figure the numbers out first. Well, it ain't 1 and 45. That's 46. 45 divided by 2 is a decimal. 45 divided by 3 is 15. 45 divided by 4, decimal. 45 divided by 5 is 9. Yep, there it is. Now, you have minus 14. The 14's minus, so 9's minus. That's a sum. We have positive 45. They both have to be the same sign, so it's minus on both of them. Now, your A. Go look at where we labeled A. 1 with x to the 4th. Well, the fact that we have 1's good news. I just need one line. But the x to the 4th needs to be broken in half. X second, minus 5, minus 9. Okay, more dots. Let's look at this one. That's a minus, but 5's not a perfect square. So circle it, cross 2 of them out, and bring x to the 2nd minus 5 down next to your 2x. This has a minus, 3 times 3, x times x. So don't circle that. You got to go x, 3, 3. Okay, and then those can be circled and brought down here. X plus 3, x minus 3. Okay, all that can equal 0. So 2x can equal 0. X to the 2nd power minus 5 can equal 0. X plus 3 can equal 0. X minus 3 can equal 0. Okay. All right, the ones without second powers, we divide by 2 and we get 0. We subtract 3 from both sides and we get negative 3. Do that one last. Add 3 to both sides, you get 3. Okay, now this one I should have two answers. So I add a 5, add a 5. Now I apply the square root over both sides, and that's a positive, so I don't need to do the I, okay? Don't need I. Now again, 5, is that one of the square root, like 4, 9, 16, 25? I don't believe 5's up there, so does it divide by anything up there? Well, 4 is your only hope, and it doesn't, so bam, circle the square root. So it's square root 5, negative. Okay, next problem. X to the power of 3 plus 6x to the second minus 4x minus 24. So there's three solutions here. So we have x to the third, x to the second, and x to the first. Okay, so that's a factoring, but you got those three and then a constant. Get the grouping. Grouping's just one big thing. So parentheses plus parentheses, line parentheses plus line parentheses, and then line parentheses. So you got 1x cubed plus 6x to the second. Then you got negative 4x minus 24. Okay, negative in front, nope. X on everything. Yeah, you got x second on everything at least. And then 1 and 6 is just 1. You can put a 1 with it. You don't really have to. It's not really going to impact the problem. Negative in front, yup. So we need to be dividing by negatives. You have x on both, nope. 4 and 24, what's the GCF? Again, you need to have this handy whenever you're doing factoring. It's 4. Okay, so 1x to the second gets factored out, and then negative 4 gets factored out. Okay, so it's going to be 1, and that goes down to x, and the x's cancel here, leaving me with plus 6. And this is the same thing. That's 1x, and then minus changes to plus because I'm dividing by a negative. Okay, so I factor out the expression of the parentheses 1x plus 6. And what do I have left? I have 1x. Why don't you just put x to the second minus 4? You can put a 1 if you want. It doesn't matter. Now, I almost forgot. We had a higher power than 2. So we have to check the possibility of more dots. You got to look at that. So plus, minus, plus, minus. Sorry, I didn't give you very much room. Well, that's a plus, so you can forget about that. Cross out, put parentheses right here. Line them up. Well, that's a minus, maybe. 2 times 2, x times x. Yes, sirree. Okay, so don't circle that. You got to take that over here. X, 2, 2. So you got, and then those get circled, and we drop them down here. X plus 2, x minus 2. And all that can equal 0. Easy factoring to solve. 1x plus 6 can equal 0. X plus 2 can equal 0. Or x minus 2 can equal 0. Okay, so we're going to subtract 6 from both sides here. We get negative 6 for the first answer. We subtract 2 here. We get negative 2 for the second. Then we add 2 here. We get positive 2. So it's negative 6, negative 2, positive 2. Booyah. Okay, and then the last one, x to the fourth. Well, there's 4 answers for x. And we have the x to the fourth. We have the x to the third. We have x to the second. So we have all those. We don't really have x to the first, though. There's 3 terms here, so GCF and T chart. Again, when we do the T, we take the A times the C, and we always need to know what the A, we need to really concentrate on that. And since we have higher powers than 2, we're going to want to see if we have more dots. Okay, GCF. Negative in front, nope. x on everything. Yeah, but we have a fourth, a third, a second. I shouldn't do just x. I do the x to the second. Okay? 18, 57, and 10. Now, maybe it has a GCF. It's going to kind of not be cool if it doesn't. I got 1. Well, that's kind of not cool. So I bring out 1x to the second, circle it, bring it down. Now go divide all these by 1x to the second. Now really the big numbers don't change, but the x's do. So let's get rid of that. So that's 18. Now x fourth taken down 2 is x to the second. 57, x third taken down 2 is x, and then minus that 10 right there. Okay, now ABC that. So 18 times negative 10. Okay, it gives me a 180 negative. So I'm looking for a difference of 57. 180, nope. 2 and 90, nope. 3 and 60, yep, got it. Okay, so 57's plus, so we're going to have plus 60. It's a difference, it's a negative, so they have to be the opposite. And then A is 18 with its x to the second. Well, the fact that it's 18 tells me I need 2 lines of parentheses. And all you got to do is go 18, 18, and we can forget about that. X second, I can actually do x and x. So minus 3 plus 60. Okay, so 18 and 3. Three would be the GCF, so let's divide these by 3. 6x minus 1. Now get rid of that. And no, don't factor out 3, just get rid of it. 18 and 60, that one's kind of a harder GCF. So 18 that gives me 6. Okay, so that becomes 3x plus 10. Okay, let's go to the more dots section. Well, you got minus, and 1 is 1 times 1, but this is just x. There's no even power on it. So cross it out, bring that over. Okay, let's check. That has a plus, so you should circle it first. That has a plus, so circle it, cross it out, bring it over. So there were no more dots. So all that crap can equal 0. Okay, so I've got 1x to the second could equal 0. 6x minus 1 could equal 0, or 3x plus 10 can equal 0. Okay, so let's do the ones without the powers first. Plus 1, 6x equals 1, divide by 6. You can write 1/6, or you can divide 1 by 6 and round the decimal. Minus 10, you get negative 10. Now, that doesn't divide very nicely. You can leave it negative 10 over 3, or you can divide it and round the decimal and be negative 3.3 repeating. By the way, I don't know why I wrote 5 here. There should only be 4, okay? Because x to the 4th was the highest. Okay, we don't need the multiplier of 1. That's idiotic. So, and we're also not going to square root if it's 0. That just means that 2 of these, the last 2, are 0. We just have a repeated solution. All right, now, that's all I have to say on that. GCF DOPS. GCF-T, and both of these you got to look for more dots. GCF-T, there's 3 more dots, and then grouping, more dots.